Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Because it's New York Giants Sunday. We got the 2-6 New York Giants versus the 5-3 San Francisco 49ers. I will say, Grump, as we, hopefully we're live and this conversation isn't wasted on just me and you talking. This is the first moment. This is the first game where I had the realization. It's like, you know what? This 2-6 is different because we got Jackson Dart to look forward to. It is very eerily similar to 2019, where it's like, yeah, this is not fun football, but I do enjoy watching this young quarterback play football. So, I'm excited for Giants football because I get to watch Jackson Dart.
It really is a lame thing to be excited about because it's just been so bad for so long. But that's the thing about having like a quarterback that really could be your future. There's a lot of signs pointing in that direction, that there's something here to build around. Cranky fan always likes to sell this. You can either sell wins or you can sell hope. And you don't really have to sell very hard to sell hope with Jackson Dart. He does it all on his own. So, and I mean, that's kind of the larger question of Brian Daboll's future, right? Is that this kid is so good, it really doesn't necessarily tie him with handcuffs to Brian Daboll.
Yeah. So, sorry, I got distracted. We did do the PP today. Decided that because this is something that not most people watch, we're going to save any PP talk for the podcast. So the recap podcast. So if you guys want to hear about PP, recap podcast.
Hold your PP for later.
Yeah. I actually thought it was going to happen during this show. There's an NP that I think is going to be flying during this show. So let us know in the chat when the NP flies. So let me get a nice drink of my body armor. I was a little sad. I'm starting to do, and I'm going to remove you from the screen here just for a second, Grump. I'm going to change the die cast behind me every week, and I was like, all right, that's championship theme. No comments on the preview podcast.
No.
Let's do guess the inactives real quick and get it over with. It's very boring this week because essentially all of them are injuries. There's only one that, and it could be an injury, one that's not. So I texted myself last night. Let me find the text. Okay, so I have Jameis, Paulson Adebo, Cordell Flott, Daniel Bellinger, Chauncey Golston, Jermaine Illuminor, and then I'm going to say that Holland is a go and Neal stays inactive. Just because even if Holland's not the starter, he might be healthy enough to play, 8 snaps or whatever or something like that. So I'm gonna say Neal is my inactive.
So I'm glad you said that because that is the only true toss up here, and I decided to go that Holland sits. And the reason why is you look at the stretch of games in the future, and they're much tougher sleds. We no need to recap everything we said on the preview pod, but the 49ers are limping into New Jersey for this game just as badly as we're limping around. So you still have Tyler Nubin. Dane Belton's been playing some of his best ball in a while. That's not saying that he's starter quality or anything like that, but it does beg the question is, do you risk further injuring Javon Holland in this game before the stretch of games coming later? And it's even possible that, he stays active and they just give him a small smattering of snaps just to, keep him loose and whatever. But I went with sitting Holland as my last inactive. So I went, same as you, Winston, Flott, Adebo, Golston, Bellinger, Illuminor, and then I went Holland. Neal, gets active for his first game, just kind of, I guess
because everyone else is injured. So
he can hang that one on his refrigerator. His A+.
With the only reason I say Holland is because they didn't activate a safety.
No, they did not.
And they really live out of 3 safety, not even just on third down, but especially on third. Like they've lived out of 3 safety because all right, we got to get Darius Mosel off the field and put Belton on. And even last week they did it, right? Like last week they elevated Raheem Lane and had him as the third safety. He played, I can look it up right now, but he played snaps last week.
He snapped the shit out of somebody.
Yeah, maybe they just trust Bo Braid to do that. But that's why I went there. Let me see how many snaps did Raheem Lane. I like that we're starting this off with about Raheem Lane. He played 4 defensive snaps last week. So I guess maybe they're like, all right, 4 snaps, we can we can put somebody else on the field on third down.
Yeah, and that's probably is what it is, right? I don't know. For me, I'm looking at the long term here. I don't think it's worth risking Javon Holland's injury in this, to further injury because, aside from this year, like you just signed this guy to be here long term, like it's the same thing as like the Andrew Thomas syndrome and the way they've handled his injuries in the past, right? Like I just don't want to go down that pathway unnecessarily. Maybe if we were 4-4 or or better, you stress it out more. But at this stage, like I don't think it's necessary. Doesn't mean Evan Neal's gonna do shit.
Sorry, I'm muted, sitting there trying to have a conversation with you. So I do want to. Eddie can't stop. This is sad. Don't want to come here and be gloomy. But my father passed away yesterday, and this will be my first game as a Giants fan without him. Let's go Big Blue. Let's go 1-0. Eddie, very sorry to hear.
Yeah.
And we'll do we'll give you a little shout out on the regular show. So don't let me forget that at the end of the show tonight, Grump.
Yeah, I'll actually make a note now.
That sucks, dude. Honestly, if you're enjoying watching this, keep watching it. But go do what you got to do, my brother. We stop the run and don't turn it over. It's a win. That stop the run is a lot easier said than done, though, my friend Tony. We're actually the worst in the NFL at stopping the run. I saw a stat my wife showed me. It's like the Giants have the worst yards per carry allowed through 8 games since like the 1960s. So that is not fun at all.
Yeah, that's encouraging. I did see that tweet. Somebody where they were like trying to guess how many pumpkins in the jar, and someone was just like,
Giants.
Yeah. Quarterbacks trying to guess how many rushing yards a defense has given up this year.
Let's see.
This is crashing.
Sorry, I'm getting. Oh, I thought the NP flew. Maybe the NP got canceled. I don't know.
I hope so, man.
Here's the other thing: is I'm not against NPs, but to do an NP after the PP, it just you probably don't feel as good. Like, oh shoot, So,
yeah, I mean, we don't need to keep discussing.
6.1 yards per carry. I thought it was 5.7. I think you're wrong. This is kind of what these streams are for. So if you're looking at this and like you guys are all over the place, specifically Bobby, and it's unbuttoned, that's kind of it's 5.7 yards per carry allowed. Christian McCaffrey 250 plus yards a lock. So
total yards
since the preview pod, it has been confirmed that Mac Jones is starting. I understand that Mac Jones has done a decent job as the quarterback for the 49ers. I do think that helps the Giants out a ton, though, because now you have a quarterback who it gets the ball out on time. That's fine. But like he is easier to bring down, right? He is like Abdul Carter doesn't have to worry about, not finishing if he gets to the quarterback and all the guys, right? That just makes a huge difference for them. And they struggle with stunts. I hope Shane Bone continues to run that. Granted, Mac Jones gets the ball out quick, but I think it means that McCaffrey's going to have a lot more receiving yards. Obviously, McCaffrey has a ton of receiving yards with Purdy as well, too. But I think the Mac Jones playing is huge for the Purdy, for McCaffrey receiving yards. We'll see. Their running game has been bad. Like, they've actually been a terrible run game this year. So we'll see if they're able to get it going against the Giants. I can definitely see that happening. And I also don't think selling out to stop their run is quite the answer for the Giants defense either. So
no, I think it's getting off to a fast start, right? I don't think there's going to be a fix for the Giants run defense this year, right? Like some of it's a personnel thing, some of it's schematic. Regardless, I don't think there's going to be a moment where they're just going to like figure it out. So I think really the answer is if you can just force the first couple 3 and outs and your offense can get up quick, it just makes teams have to be one-dimensional. And just it was like, well, we can run the ball on them, but we need to score faster than that. So I really think that that's the answer for the run defense is just score points on offense. If you win the toss, receive the ball. Just start. Don't defer it to the second half. Just score points early. Get ahead of them.
Yeah. Who's the new head coach that has been taking the ball to start the game?
I think Liam Cohen.
Maybe I'm trying. That's the only one that would make sense. Which I am a fan of. I know it's the whole whatever, but I've always been a set the tone. I guess it's the NFL and that stuff doesn't matter, but whatever. What do you expect from McLeod? Says analyst. I think he's going to be playing quite a bit because Daniel Bellinger is injured. So they're going to be playing a little more 11 personnel, 3 wide receivers.
Well, Humphrey is on the practice squad, so I think he's definitely going to play a lot.
Yeah, so he is their third start, their third receiver. So he's in that role. But I think so that obviously means that. And I'm in this weird spot where it's I don't like little Jordan Humphrey. I know he had a deep catch on his first drive with the Giants, so that kind of clouds it. And then he had 0 catches for 0 yards. I kind of hate his game. He's a terrible. I think he's a low effort player in the run game, despite being a good run blocker when he applies himself. I think he's terrible getting off the line of scrimmage. I don't like him. So I like Raymond McLeod quite a bit more than him, even though Raymond McLeod is kind of like a low IQ football player. Just doesn't know where to sit in the right place, but he can. Just tell him run this route, and he can do better things than little Jordan Humphrey. Also, don't fumble it. So I am interested to see how they implement him. But I think Daniel Bellinger not being active today makes a big difference for that.
Absolutely. And I'm not a big fan of Little Jordan Humphrey either, but he does have an element to his game that is completely lacking on this roster, and that's the big physical receiver.
Yeah.
And boxing guys out. They just don't have anybody else that does that. So he does fill that sort of void, but But I would say, especially with Theo Johnson being inconsistent with his hands, it's crazy. He makes some of the wildest catches, but then also the perfect pass, he'll just drop in the biggest moments. And Daniel Bellinger being out, I would have thought that little Jordan Humphrey would be active for this game, just as maybe a red zone target or something, just because he's a big dude.
They don't want to cut Hyatt. I think they're trying to get something for him on Tuesday.
Man, yeah.
Which I actually respect.
I do. It brings us all the way back to the preseason, man.
Yeah. So I'm hoping they could get something from Tuesday. So I would hold on to him for 2 more days. If they hold on to him after Tuesday, then it's what the hell are you guys doing? Are you guys out of your damn mind? You've literally showed us you like a guy on the practice squad more, and this guy adds no special team value to you. I
am interested to hear who likes Hyatt and who doesn't like Hyatt in the building when everybody gets fired. Those reports coming out, if there were people in the front office that were insisting that he be around, if Brian Dable didn't like him or what.
I know Shane does, and I think the coaching staff doesn't, from them. Shane, I know from last year when Slayton won the job, and I someone I know someone who talked to Shane and was what's the deal there? Why isn't Hyatt playing? He's I want him to play too, but Daniel Jones wants Slayton to play, right? So it got pointed, another finger pointed at Daniel Jones. So that's obviously a long time ago, but it does kind of show some of the dynamic. Durango says, hypothetical question: include KT in a deal to get Waddle.
I don't want to get rid of KT, but that's not a horrible proposition.
Yeah. Now here's the thing: is you wouldn't give up a pick. If anything, the Giants might have to get up some type of that's Jalen Waddle is a better player than Kayvon Thibodeau. But Kayvon Thibodeau plays edge.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think that that's likely because if the Dolphins are parting with Waddle, it's because it's a fire sale. You have a new incoming regime change.
Yeah.
They need to acquire assets, and trading a good player for a good player doesn't get you anything. That's just moving around, deck chairs on the Titanic at that point.
Yeah, but it's a good conversation because
it sure is
better. Waddle also has some injury issues. I would probably keep Kayvon. I'm a big fan. I want to keep taking these trenches as serious as possible. He's your best run defending edge right now, so I would probably keep him.
I'm also a big fan of you never get better on the depth side without getting good at the starter level. So if you keep taking away from your positions of strength, you'll never get good depth behind it.
Agreed. Bobby, great work this year. About time to send some forward. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Billy. What do you think Slayton's role is today? I think we put a lot of targets on him, and he breaks out as Dart's number one target moving forward. I think it has to start eventually, right? Like, I'm not saying he needs to have more targets than Wan'Dale Robinson going through the rest of this, and I'm trying to sit a little taller so I'm not like blocked by this, Billy. I was a huge proponent of bringing back Slayton, right? And the Slayton conversation has always been move on from him. Fine. Replace him though. You got to have the replacement, right? And they've tried to do it before and they've never been able to successfully do it. And Slayton has always put up, his 50 to 60 yards per game. He has a few games per year where he drops the ball and it's frustrating as hell, but I view it as a net positive until you can replace him. I try and replace him. This year, the other part of the equation hasn't dropped. It's like, one, you haven't found anybody to replace him. That's part of the equation. The dropped games are still there. That's part of the equation. The other one is he hasn't had any production. He's got 150 yards on the season. Obviously, missed a couple games. And the games when Malik Neighbors is there, I understand why he's not getting a ton of targets. But, he's got to produce. And obviously, if that penalty wasn't called last week, the conversation is a little bit different. And he has himself a 70-yard touchdown. And that's part of it. But it didn't. And you can't have it. You can't be living and dying on Slayton with one play. He's got to start putting up 5 catches, 65 yards, 6 catches, 70. He's got to start putting up some production on this team that desperately needs help in the wide receiver room.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the argument that you could make that a 6th round pick or 5th round pick, whatever he was, getting you one big play every 2 games is something. But we're far beyond that with Darius Slayton at this point. He's been paid. And he's proven that he's more than that. He needs to be a consistent, presence in the wide receiver room. It's pretty clear that he's not a number 1 wide receiver. It's, arguable if he's a number 2 wide receiver. But the fact of the matter is that he has shown that he has, the most experience in the room. He has the size, he has the speed, he has the route tree to his name. And he's a high IQ player, I would say. I think he's an intelligent guy. And he's an intelligent football player. But something is not going on this year. And I don't know if it's the turbulence in practice. I don't know if it's the switchover of quarterbacks, whatever it is. But
he needs a game because he's obviously
I think it is in his head.
Yeah, he needs a game. He needs a game of 5 catches, 75 yards. And then if you stack that up, you'll get back in the good grace and you'll have a drop in 4 weeks. And you'll need to catch some more passes after that, and hopefully you'll be forgotten. But
I think some of the problem is that, the deep ball is not one of Jackson Dart's strengths, right? You've covered it extensively. It tends to slide off deep down the field in 40, 50 plus yards. But
that's where Slayton struggles. Those contested come back to it types of deep balls. He is more of a get a step.
Get it in front of him.
Yeah. Jack Hunter says, "Hey, Bobby and Grump. I've been watching since Talking Giants. Love the show. F John Boy. But seriously, when is Micah coming back? I don't understand. I think Micah has a greater likelihood of not returning this season before returning anytime soon from everything we've heard, right?
So early on when the injury initially happened was before the season fell off a cliff. And I think that there's a possibility that he could return, and they wanted to remain optimistic and open-ended about his return in the event that it would be deemed necessary. But I think that would be an aggressive timetable for him, but we don't really have a ton of information. So I would just put that out of your mind and make 2026 sort of your outlook for him for now, and anything more than that ends up being a bonus. And a bonus for what, really? If you want to see that he's able to come back from the injury and still be a high impact player, then that would be pretty much all I would be looking for at that point.
Giants Inactive list is out.
Oh, how'd we do?
You were right, you stupid a-hole.
Yeah, no,
hold on.
I mean, I think you were.
Talk while I get this tweeted.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like I said, I think that was playing a little bit of chess. Holland probably can go today, but what is the upside before the slate of games? It's not I just don't see a need to further injure somebody that you are very clearly relying on, even if he hasn't been productive or anything like that. We feel a lot better with Holland and Newbin back there than we do with Dane Belton and Newbin back there. So I don't see the need. Illuminator is also out. Woof. Yeah. Thanks, MB Goblin. Yeah, that's a big That's a big hit, but this is a really interesting day where we get to look at Marcus Bowe at right tackle. And that's really interesting because we haven't seen that since like the first preseason game where we were all stunned at how good he looked. Like at right tackle, he was for real. And then all of a sudden they moved him to left tackle. I was like, well, he's not as good here, but he held up. Like it's not a disaster with him at left tackle. And then you have the Cowboys game where they're just fed up with James Hudson, who's been persona non grata ever since. And he didn't have a good game there. But again, he was not like the reason they lost that game or anything like that. And it was pretty clear the offense started to function the moment Hudson got out of there and Bowe went in there. So, you know, the future, and Dan Duggan had a really good conversation with Carmen Bursillo, probably one of the best position coach and reporter interactions I've seen in a really long time about Marcus Bowe's future and where his skill set lies and what that means for him. And Carmen Bursillo kept it open-ended. You know, he said, like, maybe he's not a tackle, but he did say, yeah, the arm length is a thing, but you see guys with the proper arm length and they can never get it right because they don't play long-armed. They play short-armed. And there are other guys with short arms and they have the footwork and athleticism to make up for it. And Marcus Bowe certainly could be that guy. So this is a really huge benchmark for Marcus Bowe. So, you know, win or lose with this game, that's at least something, again, where we're looking at Jackson Dart's future. Look at Marcus Bowe's future, because if he looks like he really, really struggles at the outside, then, you know, possibly we have like a utility interior offensive lineman, but I have high hopes that he stays on the outside. I think that that's probably where he lives best. And, you know, at worst, getting a swing tackle with your, what was he, a 5th round pick? That's a huge home run. That is a big swing right there.
So, you know, and says Bowe's about to show up against a bad 49ers front, and the Y resigned Illinois crowd is going to come out. And then, you know, I kind of want to see Bowe. If he looks confident, that frees up some money. So I do want to see Marcus Bowe play at right tackle, right? That was the thing, is left tackle, it's not going to be his home, right? He didn't play there in college. He's not a left tackle in the NFL. But right tackle, he can get by. And even if he looks bad this year at right tackle, like, that doesn't mean he's doomed there forever. You know, look at Jermaine Illuminor's career in there. But also he can, you know, play interior and then move back out there at some point. Again, if he plays good today, I'm excited. I'll probably do a film breakdown on it, but it does not mean that well, now we can move off of Jermaine Illuminor. Obviously, we always like to see our rookies do well, but we do overreact to our rookies doing well, right? It's just like, and we discount their negative performances. Like, Bowe played terrible against the Chiefs, you know, but it gets forgotten in that game because we're focused on Russell Wilson and everything else and starting Jackson Dart. So, but to move off of Illuminor, you do need to see three games of Bowe at right tackle, and he needs to be good enough to, like, oh, well, we actually could do this. But until that happens, I'm still in the boat of re-signing Illuminor, or if there's a tackle that you like at the top of the draft and you kind of know you can go into the draft and get that guy, then drafting him. I do think Bowe, I'd like to see him try out his inside, but I wanted to see him move, like, going back to our draft conversations, I wanted to see him play right tackle before he gets moved inside in his NFL career, because he does have so much good that works at right tackle. But at the end of the day, if length and strength aren't there and he's not able to compensate, then he's got to go to the interior.
Just to wrap up that conversation, it does provide flexibility if he's really good, right? Like, you and I both want Jermaine Illuminor back. We think he's worth spending the money on, but the tackle market is wild. And, you know, even Joe Shane got, you know, very surprised at how much McKinney made on the market. It can be unpredictable, right? So if you get priced out for Illuminor, at least you have the flexibility now. It's like, well, we can live with Marcus Bowe this year, you know, or, you know, if he shows out, if you get encouraged, you know, whatever, it does provide you that flexibility. Of course, I'd rather him be a swing tackle and re-sign Jermaine Illuminor to like a 3-year deal with like a 2-year out or something like that. But if you get priced out, at least it's not the offensive line is coming crashing around our ears again. So that's, you know, it's a win-win situation if he does well.
Yeah. I just need to see consistent do well before I'm ready to make that proclamation. You know, like, well, versus the Cowboys, he played really well, right? It wasn't perfect, but he played really well. If he plays like that through a 3-game stretch, then I'm going to be more comfortable doing that. Until then, it's like, hey, I like the tools and traits, but I like Matt Parrish tools and traits. I like someone's getting lit up.
Pop, pop.
Living in the Bay Area, I hope the Giants win. Can talk shit for a week if we win. That's always a beautiful thing. That's like when we play the Bucks. I got friends here that are Bucks fans. I'm just like, yep, get to talk trash to you. I don't care if we've lost every game. It's like when we beat the Vikings when they had Josh Freeman at quarterback in the Detroit stadium. I was in Minnesota. I was like, yeah, 1-6. Guess what the one is, bud? Guys. Let's see. I don't want to do too much trade talk. Oh, someone said that Casillas let us slip on the Giants podcast that Mike McFadden has a Liz Frank. So if he has a Liz Frank, he's not coming back this year. Which is always funny. Like the national reporters are just like, yeah, I'll say whatever you want, Giants people. I like the plane sign again. Thank you. We're going to do PP talk on the podcast. Going to save it for then. Because I have a message for John Mara, and I hope he's listening. So tune in. We have a message for John Mara. And it's going to be real. It's going to be real serious.
Big game for Tyrone Tracy. Great opportunity. Yeah.
I think it's a huge – these 9 games are so huge for Tyrone Tracy because if he doesn't put up production – yeah. If they don't put – if he was your giant factor, and he was going to be my giant factor, but he was your giant factor. If he doesn't put up production in these last 9 games, you can't just go into the season next year like, oh, yeah, Scadaboo's back, Tracy's number 2. Like that's irrelevant. Need a Giants win today. Blue Jays crushed me last night. Andy, I'm going to be honest. I'm a little glad you're crushed. I was very happy to see Vladdy crying. Even though I love Vladdy's dad, I hate Vladdy Jr.
Wow, that is some sour grapes right there.
Absolutely, it's sour grapes. That's what sports is about, is sour grapes. That's yeah. That's where you save your sour grapes for sports. But hey, the Bills. I'm sure the Bills did a nice tweet saying a great season.
Yeah, we're the only team in New York and Canada.
I don't know if you watched, but those 2 outs in the 9th when they had the bases loaded were if you go back and just watch the bottom of the 9th. So it's bases loaded, tied, 1 out, and so bases loaded. They hit a grounder the second, right, and the second baseman picks it up and he stumbles, right? Like he stumbles. And I'm telling you, he was out by that much, right? Like they even replayed it and he was out by that much to win the World Series. And then they hit a fly ball to a deep fly to the warning track. And the left fielder's just misplaying it, right? You're like, oh my God, he's going to screw this up. He's like looking over his shoulder. And then the center fielder comes out of nowhere and basically tackles the left fielder to catch it. It was like Blue Jays fans, it's heartbreak. I could not imagine the heart rate of a Dodgers fan while that ball's in the air and you're just seeing your left fielder misplay that.
That's like the equivalent of like Trevor Lawrence tripping into the end zone against the Chiefs. Except not the World Series version.
Dude, if you're a Blue Jays fan, and I hate to rub it in, Andy, that's gonna live in your mind forever. Forever. Just like the replay of him being that short and just I'd never seen a more like crazy back-to-back outs. Ron was right. Giants Nation Sports Show. Yep, absolutely. Will Fedoni get any playing time today with Bellinger out? Yeah, I do think they want to play some 12 personnel. It'll be interesting to see if they go to heavy Manhurts because Manhurts doesn't give you any receiving value.
Didn't he pop up on the injury report? Oh, I think it was just an illness.
Yeah. So, but I do think Fedoni's going to get at least 10 snaps or so. Can Darius Mose have a successful career at the Giants? What does it? He's just not an NFL linebacker athlete. Like it's just there's nothing there, and that's not me. It's not even taking a shot at like Joe Shane with that. Like he's a 6th-round pick.
Yeah,
he really shouldn't be in this situation.
He should be a core special teamer, is what he should be.
Yeah. We talk me and Grump have analyzed every Giants draft pick for a long time. And there's always guys who are like, 6th round, whatever, but this is not a guy who should ever be contributing. And then those guys always end up starting year 2. I'm trying to think of mine. They've been DJ Davidson, Jordan Riley. I guess I was right about Riley. Davidson has been better than what I thought, which isn't saying much.
It's a minimal
Chris Slayton from the 2019 class.
Yeah.
2020, TJ Brunson. Hated TJ Brunson.
I hated that pick.
Yeah, I was glad that I said in the moment, I was like, Tate Crowder is better than TJ Brunson.
Yep.
And then 2021, I hated Gary Brightwell. Hated him. Also, I hated Ellerson Smith, but I saw the vision for it, but I hated Ellerson Smith.
That was like one of those like value picks where you're just like, if this works out, we got supreme value. If it doesn't work out, it's a 4th round pick.
Yeah.
I get it.
Let's see if Dexter Lawrence stuff. Yeah, I've been putting Dexter Lawrence in all the graphics and stuff. Like Dexter Lawrence show up and show out. All right, that's a stream. Make sure to like and subscribe. Do I throw a Carter getting?
I got the dark side shirt on.
I
think yes. Up against McKivitz, I think he gets a sack today.
All right.
I mean, don't listen to my betting advice, but I'm just separately saying.
Grump told you. If you want to support the show, patreon.com/GiantsNation. We'll be live probably around 7:15, 7:30. Honestly, it depends on this is the one time of the year where after the game, I do take an hour and just unplug and watch the championship race for NASCAR. So probably going to be 7:30. And I'm going to have a strong message for John Mayer. So be there. So strong. All right, we'll see you then. Until then, let's go Big Blue.